नमस्ते प्रणाम गीता ध्यान ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Partha, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudevasutam devam kansachanuramardanam devakim paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. The Vibhuti Yoga 10th Yoga Adhyay of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Krishna is telling us about the divine glories, the divine manifestations of the great Lord. That the great Lord himself has come forth as all these diverse creatures in this universe, in this creation. From that divine Lord, all this diversity has sprung up. But this diversity has got one unity behind it. And that is the subject matter of this 10th Adhyay, the Vibhuti Yoga. And Sri Krishna tells, once who has understood this, once who has understood that all this diversity has sprung up from me, it has come forth from me, and I am the source of all these diverse creation that you see around yourself, then such wise people, such enlightened souls, when they understand that, they love to talk about it. They love to discuss it between themselves. And then a stage comes when they find joy in nothing but discussing about these divine glories. They find complete satisfaction, complete contentedness in talking about these divine glories of the great Lord. The last shlok that we read, where Sri Krishna says, Macchitta madgata prana bodhayantaha parasparam kathayantaṣhāṁ nityam tuṣhānti ca ramanti ca. These Buddha, the wise people who have known the reality behind this entire diversity, who know that I am the source of all this diverse creation, who know that this all diverse creation has come up from me, they offer their they get established. Their minds are always fixed on me. Mat-chitta, mat-gata prana, they offer their lives to me. They dedicate their lives to me. And bodhayantaha parasparam, between themselves, such dedicated souls, such enlightened souls, such illumined souls, between themselves, they keep on discussing about me. Bodhayantaha. It is a satsanga. They keep on talking about me. They keep on singing my divine glories. And then kathayantaṣhāṁ nityam, constantly they talk about me, constantly having talked about me, they attain great peace. Tuṣhānti ca ramanti ca. Not only they find peace in that, not only they find contentment in that, ramanti ca, they also derive great joy, they also derive great pleasure, great delight in just talking about me. So that was the ninth shlok that we had read, and Sri Ramakrishna had told us at the end of that shlok that you can't paint a picture on a glass which is freshly prepared. For that glass to get the paint painted on it, to come up with a beautiful painting on that glass, it needs to be put with some chemical. It needs to be prepared. It needs to be made ready to receive that paint. Likewise, Sri Ramakrishna says, the heart of a devotee, first of all, make it ready with devotion. Apply that chemical of devotion on the heart. Once you have applied that chemical of devotion on the heart, then you can start painting picture of the Lord on your heart. And then it gets permanently etched. So that's what Sri Ramakrishna had spoken to us about developing this devotional attitude, constantly dwelling on the divine glories, talking to them with other devotees, like one hemp smoker getting joy in meeting another hemp smoker. So always have this kind of a satsang and attain, get that ultimate delight, get that ultimate contentment of having talked about the Lord, having shared your views of the Lord, having learned something more about the Lord. So that was the ninth shlok that we read, and now Sri Krishna is going to tell us that what happens of such people. When such people keep on talking about me, keep on sharing my glories between themselves, keep on deliberating on the divine glories in such satsanga, what happens? Sri Krishna in this 10th shloka that we are going to read is telling us, teṣhāṁ satata-yuktānāṁ bhajatāṁ prīti-pūrvakam dadāmi buddhi-yogaṁ tam yena upayānti te. Sri Krishna says, teṣhāṁ satata-yuktānāṁ, to them, to such devotees, to such lovers of the Lord, satata-yuktānāṁ, who are ever steadfast, who have always fixed their minds in the Lord, who are ever dedicated to the Lord. Evam satata-yuktānāṁ bhajatāṁ prīti-pūrvakam, who are worshipping me with all the love and affection and devotion, who are worshipping me. To such devotees, what I do? What I do? Dadāmi buddhi-yogaṁ tam. To them I give, dadāmi I give, I grant. What? Buddhi-yoga. I give them the power of discrimination. And having got that power of discrimination, yena upayānti te. Having got that power of discrimination, by that power of discrimination, they come to me. Upayānti te. They come to me. They don't go anywhere. Then they come to that ultimate objective because of which they have started this journey of life and death. That is the ultimate objective, attaining the oneness with the Lord. That is the ultimate objective. And Sri Krishna says that they attain when I give them buddhi-yoga. So this is what happens, Sri Krishna says, for such kind of devotees. They all come up. Yes, first of all, I bring out all these diverse creation. And that Sri Krishna has told us how he has brought out this diverse creation. There is so much of diversity. No two things are alike in this wonderful creation of the Lord. No two things are alike. No two human beings are ever alike. No two animals are ever alike. No two plants are ever alike. With so much of diversity surrounding us, Sri Krishna says there is still a unity in that, because it has all come from me. I have created all these creatures through those saptarshis, and these creatures leading their worldly lives with the code of conduct given by those four manus, also created by me. Everything is created by the Lord. These creatures, with all their individual attitudes and qualities and egos and whatnot, those 20 qualities that Sri Krishna has attributed, they are all coming from me, he says. So with all this diversity, there is still a unity which Sri Krishna says is very much lying in there. And those wise men, the Buddha, he said, those wise men who have understood this great secret, that although I see all diversity around me, I am surrounded by all this diverse nature, diverse creation, but they all have the Lord within them. And with that understanding, with that wisdom, with that knowledge, when the devotee starts praising my glories, when that devotee meets another devotee, and both of them, they start praising my glories, both of them start sharing my glories between them, then they meet more devotees, and all such devotees, when they start doing it, then they don't get bored. In fact, they don't get bored. The topic of discussion on the divine glories is never boring. They derive extreme pleasure out of such discussions. They are ever content in talking about the Lord, talking about the Lord, talking about the Lord, and in worshipping. And Sri Krishna says here that such people who are ever steadfastly fixed in me, satata-yuktānāṁ, and who are worshipping me with all their love and affection. Now it is a give and take. All the devotees want is to give the devotion to the Lord, to worship the Lord. They don't want anything in return. They only worship the Lord for the sake of worship. But the Lord is so compassionate. Lord doesn't say only you keep on giving your devotion to me. No. Once they give all that devotion to the Lord, Lord says, dadāmi buddhi-yogaṁ. To them I give buddhi-yoga. And what is this buddhi-yoga? Buddhi-yoga is that ultimate power of understanding what is right, what is wrong. Buddhi is the ultimate tool that the Lord has given us to know what is the real and what is unreal. Unfortunately, this internal faculty that the Lord has given to us, buddhi, it is always hidden. Now when Lord says, dadāmi buddhi-yogaṁ, it is not that He is actually giving us that buddhi-yoga. That buddhi is already with us. But we don't pay any heed to it. We have just blanked it. We have put a veil on it. We can't see the buddhi that is within us, that internal faculty, which Sri Krishna has already talked about. That buddhi, which differentiates between the reality and what is unreal. We don't pay any heed to it. Buddhi is always there, the power of discrimination telling us, do this, don't do this, don't do this. When we are good, when we are about to do something wrong, that buddhi raises the antenna. It raises that cautionary note. My dear friend, don't do it. It is not good. But we, with our egotistic sense, our ahankara, I know more what you are telling me. I want to enjoy this thing. In our temptation of enjoying that worldly thing, we don't pay any heed to buddhi, although buddhi is always cautioning us. And in the process, the moment we get tempted, we don't pay any attention, we don't pay any heed to the buddhi, we ignore buddhi. We just shut it down in some corner. Don't come out. I don't need you. I want that. I want that thing to enjoy myself. And then, having got so much of temptation from that sense objects, the senses and sense object, they have come attuned, they have come in tune with each other, and then we allow our sense organs to play their sway. Then the sense organs, they start going towards that sense object, and we start enjoying. But in reality, what happens? Do we enjoy? We may be enjoying for a moment, for a minuscule time frame, but along with that enjoyment, we are ignorant, we are not aware that with that pleasure, the pain is also coming along with that pleasure. We are trying to be happy. Unhappiness also comes along with that happiness. We want to be joyful by enjoying that thing, but sorrows also, they keep on coming with that joy. This is what happens when we don't pay heed to buddhi. So Sri Krishna says to such devotees who are constantly dwelling on my name, who are constantly engaged in the loving worship of my true nature, to such devotees I grant them buddhi yoga. And with that buddhi yoga, with that power of discrimination, they know what is real, they know what is real. Once they know what is real, such great illumined souls, such great enlightened people, they will never go for the unreal. For them, these materialistic and worldly temptations, they are like filth. They won't even bother to look at those things. The moment focus on reality becomes so fixed, the moment focus on sat becomes so fixed, the moment we know what is, this is sat, this is asat, why should I go for asat then when I know what is sat? The moment realization of sat dawns through buddhi, the moment realization of sat dawns, the asat vanishes. In the domain of reality, there is no place for anything that is unreal. There the pair of opposites don't work. Then there cannot be reality as well as thing which is not real. Reality is only reality. Sat is only sat. The sat chit ananda. That is the ultimate enjoyment. That is ultimate being one with the Lord. And that's what Sri Krishna says. When I endow a devotee with the buddhi yoga, with that buddhi yoga, having known what is real, what is unreal, the devotee comes to me. Because then there is nothing, there is no other thing than the real Lord, the ultimate divine principle. That is the only ultimate reality. So, the devotee becomes one with the Lord. So that is Sri Krishna's teaching, and let us see Sri Ramakrishna's example on this teaching of Sri Krishna, that how Sri Krishna endows devotees with the buddhi yoga. Sri Ramakrishna in this example, he has given another beautiful example. A man confined within a dark room contacts a ray of light coming in through a tiny aperture. Now just imagine, we are sitting in a totally enclosed room. There is no light anywhere. It is a dark room. The person sitting in that dark room doesn't have a concept of light at all. Then one fine day, one small hole is made, a small aperture is made in one wall. And suddenly, this man who has not known light at all, he sees that small ray of light coming through that maybe 1 millimeter hole, that ray of light coming, and he comes to know, oh, there is something called as light. It is coming, such a small ray, it is coming through this hole, that is light. That is his understanding of the light coming from that 1 mm hole. He gathers knowledge of light to that extent. But as the aperture increases in size, his conception of light widens. Tomorrow, suppose this aperture 1 millimeter, it becomes 1 centimeter. That hole is 1 centimeter. that much of light will come in through that 1 centimeter hole, and this man's understanding of light will even widen to the extent of what it was through 1 mm, and now it is from 1 centimeter hole. So he has broadened his knowledge on the light that is coming through that aperture. Tomorrow, if it becomes, that hole becomes 10 centimeters, wider will be his knowledge as far as the light is concerned. Now he will say, oh, light comes like this. It has. Earlier it was only coming like a small thread. Now it is coming through a big hole. Now I can see much better. Now it is showing me things which are around me. Earlier that one light coming from 1 mm hole could hardly show me anything. But now I can see I am getting more of enlightenment with that increased beam of light. So his knowledge about the light also, as the aperture increases in size, his conception of light also widens. A man in broad daylight has his own view of light. Now this man, you just take him out from the dark room and put him in open ground. What will be his perception of light then? Earlier he used to he knew only about the light which was coming from 1 mm hole, then 1 centimeter hole, then 10 centimeters hole, and now he's standing in the open wide ground. All around him there is nothing but light, and then that is complete enlightenment. Similar to this, God reveals himself in varying degrees and aspects according to the nature and attainment of his devotees. Such a wonderful and most apt example that Sri Ramakrishna has given on this shloka. Sri Krishna says, earlier the concept of devotees for me might be very limited. They might be worshipping me only as an idol or only as a murti. Fine. A god or a goddess. But as their devotion increases, as their involvement in my worship increases, as they start discussing between themselves, all these devotees, I am so happy with their devotion that ultimately, after giving the jnana, after giving the bhakti, all these things, then I dawn upon them the buddhi-yogaṁ. Then I grant them the buddhi-yoga. And then, like Sri Ramakrishna says, it is like that man who earlier used to see things only through that 1 mm aperture light. He got used to seeing things from 1 centimeter aperture light, and then 10 centimeters aperture light, and finally brought out into the open ground, and complete daylight that man is seeing. This is what happens when finally the Lord grants buddhi yoga to the devotee. The moment buddhi yoga, the moment the devotee knows what is real, what is unreal, the unreal ceases to exist, and it is only sat that matters for the devotee. And the moment sat matters, the devotee is already one with the Lord, and therefore Sri Krishna says that Mam upayānti te. Then ultimately he comes to me. Ultimately the devotee comes to me once I give him this buddhi yoga. So that is how Sri Krishna is revealing his all these divine glories through diversity, such a diverse creation that first he creates, and then he also gives us the understanding that although all this creation is diverse, there is one unity behind this diversity. So that is the wonderful Vibhuti yoga we have been studying, and today we read this 10th shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur Jai Swami.